Hello and welcome to the Evening News for today, Wednesday, May 21, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, Guyanese youth take strong stance and fight against climate change at CDB's Vibesing conference. Essequibo girl aged 14 who ingested poison over boy aged 16 succumbs. 2 prison escapees sentenced after bolting from court's lockups. 1 critical, 2 injured after cutlass attack. NASI talks of more worker right advocacy as union's triennial conference opens. And CIFOTEF objects to one opposition proposed amendment. Now for the news in detail. Several young persons were charged to take the issue of climate change seriously as the Caribbean Development Bank's youth outreach Vibesing 2014 commenced in Guyana today. The details in this report.
This year's CDB Vibesing workshop is being held under the theme Youth Voices for Climate Change and is attended by young people from all across Guyana. At the opening ceremony for the workshop, the participants were charged to become more interested and active in the issue of climate change, since it will more than have an effect on their lives as they are the future of the world. Minister of Youth, Culture and Sport Dr. Frank Anthony said that this program will allow participants to grasp concepts of the climate change.
I think it's important. It shows that the bank, have really thought about this and recognize that we need to bring this type of knowledge to our young people, but also not just the knowledge, because a lot of times people can know things, but if they are not actively involved in getting them to change maybe how they see things and how they do things, then they will just have some knowledge of it and not practicing what they know.
Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh noted that climate change has a severe effect on the Caribbean since most of the islands are low-lying and, in the case of Guyana, below the ocean level. The minister also reiterated the importance of youth's involvement on climate change, since they will be the ones who will be adversely affected in the future.
It has immediate dimensions and it's affecting many of us immediately. But its gravest consequences lie and reside in the long-term survival and survivability of our planet and of our individual communities. And because you are the future of the world, you have the strongest and deepest vested interest in protecting our climate and protecting our planet and ensuring that we cultivate today the conditions that are required for a safe and prosperous planet tomorrow.
Meanwhile, CDB's Vice President of the Corporate Services told the participants that they are part of the solution to the climate change. She noted that the outreach is designed to inform and engage youths on developmental issues and is targeted at youth engagement and participation.
We recognize essentially that there can be no equitable development without giving equal opportunity to all segments of society, and that includes the youth. It includes young people. And so it is important to us to provide opportunities for the youth to vocalize your understanding of key development issues, to hone that understanding, and to actively participate in community-based solutions, development solutions.
Vibesing 2014 will allow participants to develop a community-based project which is entirely youth-led, and the bank will provide funding along with these resources. For the Evening News, Shania Singh.
21 days after Nishana Prasad, aged 14 of Paradise Village on the Essequibo coast, ingested a poisonous substance, she has succumbed. Prasad was pronounced dead at around 5:30 on Wednesday morning by doctors at the Sadi Public Hospital. Prasad ingested poison with her 16-year-old lover, Shiva Prasad. Nishana and Shiva are biological cousins. The couple fell in love with each other, but their parents rejected the relationship. After constant disagreement between family members, the couple decided to end their lives by ingesting poison. On May 1, the couple ingested poison together at Cottonfield and called their parents. Both teenagers were admitted to the Sadi Public Hospital and were under close watch. Shiva was discharged from the hospital on May 20, while his lover succumbed. Prasad's death is yet another suicide on the Essequibo coast, with the most recent being the Essequibo Technical Institute student Mahindra Narain, who hanged himself. 2 prisoners who escaped from the lockups at the Georgetown Magistrates Court were today sentenced and placed behind bars for their actions. The details from Shania Singh.
Steve Backus and Randolph Marks were sentenced to 2 years imprisonment when they today appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court before the Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarayan Bihari after they escaped from the lockups at the Georgetown Magistrates Court on Monday, May 19, 2014. Steve Backus, who was facing a charge of murder, pleaded guilty and told the court that he had not planned the escape. He said he felt frustrated since he paid his lawyer $800,000 and she failed to represent him, and he saw the opportunity for freedom, so he took it. Randolph Marks, who was on a charge for murder as well, pleaded guilty and told the court that he did not plan his escape and he was sorry for his actions. On Monday, 4 prisoners escaped from the lockups while 2 were recaptured. Vikram Prasad was shot and killed after an armed confrontation with the police. The 4th escapee, Kieran Cummins, still remains at large. Security at the Georgetown Magistrates Court was significantly increased after the daring escape of 4 prisoners on Monday. A Division Commander Clifton Hicken told the Evening News that the ventilation grill the prisoners had ripped open to escape has been replaced by more formidable materials. He said that an investigation into the incident is ongoing and several officers have been questioned. Hicken explained that if any officers are to be found culpable, then they would be dealt with accordingly. Questions have been raised about police involvement since on any given court day, there are over a dozen ranks on duty at the court. For the Evening News, Shania Singh.
The Guyana and Trinidad Mutual Life Insurance Company, GTM, on Tuesday reported a 12.5% growth in its insurance premium and a 10.38% growth in total revenue, amounting to $1.45 billion, and has seen a resounding surplus of $187 million, $83 million more than what was recorded in 2012. Alexis Rodney reports.
Chairman of the insurance company in Guyana, Mr. R.L. Singh, delivering the director's report at the company's 89th annual general meeting at the Georgetown Club, also revealed that there has been an increase of $156 million for its policyholders' revenue, with a net profit after tax of $31.4 million. According to him, much success has been seen.
The company continues to maintain an aggressive business retention strategy in an effort to retain as much policies on our books as is possible. As the old saying goes, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. The group health portfolio remains very healthy, with a claim ratio of 63% compared to 76% at the end of 2012.
Singh, who was re-elected to the post for the new year while delivering the report, said that the insurance sector across the region continues to come under increased and stringent regulatory requirements. According to him, this is despite its annual financial reporting. These requirements, he said, include increased emphasis on corporate governance and a risk-based approach to conducting business for all insurance companies operating in the Caribbean region.
The Eastern Caribbean territories in which your company operates continue to grapple with low economic growth, persistent fiscal deficits, rising debt levels, high unemployment rates, and some fragility in the financial sector. In Grenada, financial business leaders are anticipating yet another difficult year, similar to that of 2013, with a modest economic growth projected for 2014.
Speaking to the insurance company's performance in Guyana, Singh revealed that GTM, in spite of the raging competition, has been able to move ahead with the sale of 811 of the 1460 new individual policies being sold with an annualized premium of $61.33 million. He said the success of the insurance company here must be attributed primarily to the exceptional performances of the team of advisors and agents. The meeting saw several top achievers being awarded for their remarkable performances. They include Mr. Peter Bryan, Anthony Semple, Wazir Khan, and Hansraj Singh. For the Evening News, I'm Alexis Rodney.
One teenager is now critical while 2 other men are injured after they were attacked by a group of cutlass-wielding men at Crane Village on the west coast of Demerara on Sunday evening. Andy Rampersad, aged 19 of Crane Village, is nursing a chop to his head while other bodily injuries and is a patient at the Georgetown Public Hospital. Another young man, Gavin Prasad, aged 19, of 57 Crane Village, West Coast, Demerara, was on Monday discharged from the West Demerara Regional Hospital. He was chopped to the body. The third, a security guard referred to as Django, also received injuries but was treated and sent away on the night of the incident. He is said to be in his mid-40s. According to reports, the three men were sitting at a popular shop in the area when a group of men of about 13 ran out of a yard and started to fire chops. They were all teenagers armed with cutlasses. After the men invaded the shop, Prasad and the security guard managed to escape, leaving Ramprasad behind. Thus, he would have sustained the most injuries. He was chopped to his head, ears, legs, and arms. Jomo Paul now reports that protest action is expected to continue as the Guyana Sugar Corporation, GAISUCO, remains firm in its stance that it will not reinstate the fired employees.
Assistant General Secretary of NACI, Dr. Nagasar, says that strike action at GAISUCO iFlood Estate will continue. Nagasar pointed out that he had met with the estate head, but the meeting was not fruitful.
We met with the estate manager and discussed the issue. The estate manager said that he will not reopen the case. He has already made his decision, and the union should take the case to the next level.
What level is that?
That's at the head office level of GAISUCO.
And have you made substitute with this already?
Yes, we make arrangements to reach with them. A letter was forwarded already, but it's in the process of discussing.
Nagasar added that procedure was indeed not followed and highlighted what steps should have been taken prior to the dismissal of the estate workers.
In our discussion and investigation, we believe the workers were wrongfully dismissed because the steps were not followed properly and management error in certain areas, so we dealt with at the head office level.
What steps were supposed to be followed?
Well, in terms of investigation or discipline an employee, there are steps where you need to show cause that. After the show cause that is issued, you have to have a hearing. If the worker did not respond to a show cause that, a hearing still have to be done to determine if there is a case against the worker.
Meanwhile, GAISUCO CEO Dr. Rajendra Singh says that he is positive that the union and GAISUCO will arrive at some sort of consensus to end the industrial dispute.
3 workers were dismissed for not properly supervising, not properly doing their work, and the matter is being discussed at the level of the company. I wouldn't want to say more than that because I leave it up to my colleagues, both in the unions and with the management to get it resolved.
So are there any steps to reinstate the workers?
Well, that depends on what comes out of the next step of the grievance procedure, which I understand is happening.
2 field foremen and his supervisor were dismissed after they failed to respond in writing to charges leveled against them by officials at GAISUCO. The striking iFlood workers are demanding the reinstatement of their colleagues. For the evening news, Jomo Paul.
This is Evening News. Stay tuned. More news select. Welcome back. This is the Evening News on TVG. Contrary to reports given by the Attorney General and Legal Affairs Minister Anil Nandlal, the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force, CFATF, has objected to only one of the 3 proposed amendments for the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Act of 2009. Alexis Rodden reports.
The establishment of an anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism authority by the National Assembly appears to undermine the autonomy of the Financial Intelligence Unit, the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force Executive Director Calvin Wilson said in a letter addressed to the Attorney General and Legal Affairs Minister Anil Nandlal. Wilson explained that the FIU should have sufficient operational independence and autonomy to ensure that it is free from undue influence or interference. He further said, and I quote, "The proposed amendment which gives the AML-CFT authority the power to appoint and terminate the director and the deputy director without parameters will raise serious questions about the ability of these officials to perform their functions without undue influence," unquote. But CFATF did not explicitly object to the proposed amendment, which seeks to replace the Attorney General with a director, or the third proposed amendment, which seeks to extend the powers of the police officer or customs officer to seize and detain cash, which is between 10 million or more anywhere in Guyana. Alluding to the first proposal, the CFTF executive director said the Financial Action Task Force recommendations do not specify any person or competent authority. Quote, the assignment of such responsibility is at the discretion of each jurisdiction, and the CFTF cannot definitely advise any country on any particular alternative, unquote. It was stated too that while the extension of powers to law enforcers is not a specific requirement of the FATF, it is a possible measure that can be instituted, noting that similar provisions are in place in Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but with safeguards which include limiting the initial period of seizure to hours. The CFTF executive director was responding to a letter sent by the Legal Affairs Minister on May 7, 2014. In his response, Wilson was keen on noting that FATF standards are minimal requirements and in most instances do not stipulate specific detailed measures. Countries cannot implement measures that impose obligations beyond what the standards require, unquote.
Meanwhile, a Partnership for National Unity APNU says it will not budge on its position, even as the Legal Affairs Minister and Attorney General Anil Nandlal attempts to allegedly mislead the nation into believing that its proposed amendments have been rejected by the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force.
A Partnership for National Unity said its proposed amendments to the Principal Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Act of 2009 must be presented in the National Assembly along with the Anti-Money Laundering Amendment Bill of 2013. Speaking at the Opposition Leader's Office, APNU's Member of Parliament Basil Williams said that the coalition will not shift its position.
In addition to that, outside of the work of the committee, there were the outstanding bills that were not assented to by the President, or for whatever reason. They have to be resolved also. So the question is, in addition to working in the committee, work was also supposed to be ongoing in relation to resolving those issues that the opposition has, which include also the AFC's position about the Public Procurement Commission. And we had a meeting with the President maybe 2-3 months ago. I don't think we met again after that.
According to CFTF, Guyana is mandated to pass the anti-money laundering bill by May 29, or it will be handed over to the Financial Action Task Force, where blacklisting is highly likely. But Shadow Minister Carl Greenidge said there is more to passing a bill in the National Assembly than what meets the eye.
As regards the meeting of the deadline, obviously we are ready for at the 21st of May, and the 26th is just down the road. There's no way that that deadline can be met unless the government takes the action that is required of it, and between government and opposition we then collaborate to make sure that the conditions that are required are met expeditiously, and to require the suspension of the normal practices.
The coalition pointed out that Guyana, under the leadership of Barjai Dio, passed the Money Laundering Prevention Bill of 2000, but noted that after 14 years, there has been no prosecution under the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing Terrorism Act Bill of 2009. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
Approximately 20 employees attached to the popular call center Qualfon Guyana fell ill on Tuesday afternoon when the power went out at the facility. Let's find out more in this report.
The Evening News understands that around 16:30 hours on Tuesday, approximately 20 employees attached to the call center were rushed to the Georgetown Public Hospital with what supervisors and managers at the company claimed to be asthma symptoms. At the hospital, one employee related that the last thing she remembered before waking up in the hospital was being on a call with a customer. She said when she woke up, she heard the screams of her fellow employees, but she did not know what had transpired when she was unconscious. Approximately 30 minutes after the pandemonium ensued at the Georgetown Public Hospital, another vehicle arrived, this time with a screaming young lady. She too had fallen victim to whatever transpired at the work site. It took the combined efforts of just about 7 men to remove the young woman, who was screaming at the top of her lungs, from the vehicle, to restrain her in a wheelchair and subsequently take her into the hospital for medical treatment. Today, work continued at the call center following the incident.
Now some news from the courts. 21-year-old Delroy Brung was sentenced to 2 years imprisonment when he appeared today at the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarayan Bihari after he unlawfully escaped police custody. The charge alleged that on March 9, 2014, he escaped from custody after being charged with the unlawful possession of firearms and ammunition. The defendant was admitted as a patient of the GPHC after he was shot in the leg by police ranks when he was arrested on March 6, 2014 at Sophia for the unlawful possession of firearms. The accused pleaded not guilty and told the court that on the day in question he had in his possession $60,000, which he gave to a police officer, who in turn told him when to leave the hospital. The Chief Magistrate ordered an investigation into the allegations made by the defendant. Stay tuned, more news will ahead. This is Evening News. Welcome back. Farmers in the Amerindian community of Mainstay Wayaka on the Essequibo coast have complained over the lack of markets for pineapples as harvesting commenced. Harvesting commenced in mid-April and is expected to end in June. The lack of markets for pineapples has forced farmers to occupy new locations at various villages to sell their products. One such farmer was Rayon Edwards. Edwards, a mother of 3, said the pineapple factory in Mainstay is presently down and the farmers are forced to seek outside markets. She said the factory is down because the overseas markets have stopped purchasing their pineapples. According to Edwards, on a daily basis, she sells approximately 200 pineapples at Kapui village at 3 for $1,000. Her parents, Leo and Donna Gomes, cultivated approximately 10 acres of pineapple. The triennial conference of the National Association of Agricultural, Commercial and Industrial Employees convened today at the Umanayana with much talk of continued fight for worker rights and union growth.
There was much talk of sustained advocacy for workers' rights as well-being in the workplace when the triennial conference of the National Association of Agricultural, Commercial and Industrial Employees Union convened. Union President Ashton Chase lamented that the union has come a far way from its humble beginnings and is now a force to be reckoned with in the labor movement.
In time, it enlarged within the sugar industry, extending its membership supervisors, sugar boilers, headmen, and other administrative staff. In due course, its name was changed. It was changed to the National Association of Agricultural, Commercial, and Industrial Employees, NASI. And with this change came an extension of its fields of membership.
NASI General Secretary Kenneth Joseph said that the union remains to be consistent in its support for workers' rights.
Of course, we're seeing the results of that. Our union can boast that it has always been a consistent representative of our members. We once again are prepared to confront our membership with our successes and failures, with our financial structure being strong. Our union believes that no worker should be discriminated against because of age, gender, ethnicity, political persuasion, or else. And in unity there is strength.
Labour Minister Nanda Gopal was also present at the function and spoke briefly commending the union on its success thus far.
Wish NASI every success at this 52nd Annual Delegates Conference, a union which is 68 years old can be considered old enough to understand what it is to fight for life and to fight for the well-being of the workers. And so it is indeed my pleasure to have been associated with this union, to continue to be associated with it. And I want to wish the union every success as it continues.
On Friday, elections will be held to appoint NACI officials. For the evening news, I'm Gabriela Patram.
Back in the courts, Royston Samuel of West Bank, Demerara was fined $30,000 when he today appeared in the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarayan Bihari to answer the charge of possession of narcotics. The charge states that on May 12, 2014, at Starbrook, the accused had in his possession 9 grams of cannabis. Police also alleged that he behaved in a disorderly manner prior to his arrest. Guyana's female members of parliament at a special meeting convened by Speaker of the National Assembly Raffle Trotman on May 19 in the MP's lounge of the public buildings discussed the possibility of establishing a local arm of the Commonwealth Women Parliamentarians. After much discussion, the meeting, which was well attended by the female MPs, saw them agreeing to form a steering committee. This committee will run for 1 year and will have one person from each party acting as coordinators. These coordinators will be tasked with ascertaining issues for the committee to focus on in keeping with their respective parties' view. It was also agreed that these issues will not be limited to those affecting women and children, but will also focus on gendering the legislative process, creating awareness campaigns and encouraging lobbying, as well as advocacy, networking, resource mobilization, and information dissemination. Stay tuned to the evening news, your regional, international, bridge, and ferry reports after break. This is Evening News. Welcome back. Now some news from the region. The Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago says it has put up for sale the cash-strapped Colonial Life Insurance Company Limited, CLICO, whose near-total collapse 4 years ago led to the Trinidad and Tobago government pumping billions of dollars into it. Central Bank Governor Jawala Rambaran, in a statement, confirmed that the bank was in the market for a buyer. The governor said as part of the resolution strategy for CLICO, the central bank proposes to transfer CLICO's traditional insurance portfolio for value to an acquiring insurance company that is well capitalized, has a proven track record, and the capacity to honor all obligations to policyholders. Rambaran said to achieve this objective, the insurance portfolio is being evaluated by an independent valuation company. Internationally, auction site eBay is forcing users to change their passwords after a cyber attack compromised its systems. The U.S. firm said a database had been hacked between February and early March and had contained encrypted passwords and other non-financial data. The company added that it had no evidence of there being unauthorized activity on its members' accounts. However, it said that changing the password was best practice and will help enhance security for eBay users. The California-based company has 128 million active users and accounted for $212 billion worth of commerce on its various marketplaces and other services in 2013. It said it would be contacting users to alert them of the issue via email, its website, advertisements, and social media. In case you've just joined us, you're watching the Evening News, where we now take a look at your bridge reports. The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed on Thursday, May 22 at 11 hours 30 for a period of 1.5 hours, and the Berbice River Bridge will be closed on Thursday, May 22 at 11 hours for a period of 1.5 hours. And for those of you using the ferry service, the Perique and Supernam ferries will be departing at 11 hours on Thursday, May 22, 2014. Both ferries are also slated to depart their respective locations at 23 hours on Thursday, May 22, 2014. Join us after the break for sports, sponsored by Marco. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. Now for a look at sport, but first the headlines. Government apt new comment for praise for passing Cricket Administration Bill. Confident Media 11 take on umpires and scorers on Monday. Greaves off to US for training ahead of Commonwealth Games, and Lendl Simmons' 100 downs Kings 11 Punjab. Of course, the sportcast comes to the kind compliments of Marco.
This is the machine you asked for, and it's what we are delivering. Introducing the new CAT D2 series.
Improvements made with you in mind. A mechanically controlled engine designed to cope with Guyana's toughest conditions. Lower fuel consumption and less maintenance, which reduces your owning and operating costs. The highest productivity in the market. Robust design, which is built to last. MacCorp, the only authorized Caterpillar dealer in Guyana, bringing integrated solutions for your success. Let's build Guyana together.
Welcome back. Now for the details, we start off with some cricket news. The Upper Demerara Cricket Association and the Buxton Cricket Club have lauded the government of Guyana and the main opposition party, a Partnership for National Unity, for their efforts in ensuring the passage of the long-awaited Cricket Administration Bill. Rajiv Bisnot reports.
The Upper Demerara Cricket Association in a release pointed out that the passage of the bill was important, deeming it as a means of bringing back free and fair elections, proper accountability, resolution to the ongoing cricket crisis, and more importantly, offers the opportunity for youngsters in Region 10 to participate meaningfully in the promotion and development of cricket within their region and ultimately the country. The release also stated that the association was disappointed with the opposition party Alliance for Change for not supporting the bill. This policy of inconsistency of the AFC leaves one to wonder if there is any honesty in their many expressions, the release contended. The UDCA release stated, in recognizing the importance of this landmark and what it means to our region, which has been detested for too long, we once again thank both the government and APNU for their obvious interest. Meanwhile, the Buxton Cricket Club in a release on Wednesday said that the passage of the bill shows that goals can be achieved once there is unity and togetherness. The release further stated that it is indeed shameful that the other party in Parliament, the Alliance for Change, did not support the bill. The AFC seems to be on a course of irrelevance with their inconsistent pattern of party policies, the release concluded.
Sports journalists, scorers and umpires will don their tools on Monday and square off in what has been dubbed a grudge match at the world-famous GCC Ground Border. A confident media unit will confront the scorers and umpires in a feature 2020 game set to get underway at 10 hours. Let's find out more in this report.
With the aim of getting in top condition for the match on Monday, the Media 11 has been in training under the watchful eye of former national middle order batsman and England one international player Monty Lynch. During the first session on Tuesday, the confident media team were involved in several drills as well as batting sessions. Lynch, speaking after the first session, said he enjoyed working with the media team and wished the team well.
No, it's very good. I found it most enjoyable, and it's nice to see that people who write about the game come out and look to play it as well, So when guys make fools of themselves, you can understand how the players feel when they misfield and things like that, Watch, man, any game of cricket is a good game, and I'm looking towards coming to watch the match as well because, like I said, umpires and scorers and that, everybody has a part to play in the development of the game. And I think the more you guys play, the more inclined you are to understand how players feel when they get out or make mistakes, in the games.
Skip of the media team, Calvin Roberts, explained the genesis of the game, which will be a 2020 affair played with red ball and white clothing.
Basically, John, we had a bragging conversation, so to speak, like a fooling around sort of thing a couple of weeks ago, and one of the guys turned and said, look, let's settle it on the field on the 26th, and readily we agreed to it jokingly, but then plans started became serious when GCC manager came out and said to us he would give us the ground to play the game, and we realized, well, okay, we got to get real serious, and for want of a better word, on the eye pass for the umpires. It's been a while they have wanted to play against us, and the Media's been a good unit playing cricket, as you'll be aware, so we decided to regroup, get together, and here we are on Monday the 26th.
Roberts boasted that the media team is very balanced, on with a solid batting lineup and capable bowling attack.
Basically, we have a nice batting lineup, and I have faith and confidence in the bowlers that we put on the table will be defended amicably well. I'm not underestimating the umpires because we don't know what they're coming with, we don't know if they're players, we don't know what are their strategies, but nevertheless, I'm looking to go there to have a win, and a win will be for the guys.
Meanwhile, senior cricket journalist Sion Devers will be using the game to get back into competitive action after undergoing medical treatment for cancer. Devers said he is looking forward to the match on Monday.
Because it's my comeback game, I've now gotten the confidence that I could play cricket again, even though not to the level that I used to. But I don't want to take it too much. I don't want to push myself. So I am pumped up because it's a great feeling to be back on the field. It's okay to be in the commentary booth or in the media center, but being on the field, it's really a test of your physical ability.
The media squad include Calvin Roberts, John Ram Singh, Sean Devers, Daniel Singh, Ravi Prasad, Avinash Ramzan, Rajiv Bisnoth, Isan Griffith, Duncan Saul, Clifton Ross, Ishaka Jackman, Kizan Brummel and Keon Blade. Admission to the venue is free and members from the public are invited to witness the game.
Now for some cycling news. Roraima Bikers Club cyclist Alonso Graves has left Guyana to compete and train in the United States of America as he intensifies preparation for the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland. The 24-year-old rider, who finished 4th overall at the 32nd Annual Independence 3 Stays last weekend, told his newscast on Monday afternoon that the trip will be quite different from the one-month stint he had in the US in May-June last year. Unlike 2013, when he was involved in purely competitive races, this time around Graves will spend 7 weeks competing against top riders around the globe, as well as train for the upcoming games. The talented rider is part of the squad shortlisted by the Ghana Cycling Federation to prepare for participation at the Commonwealth Games from July 23 to August 3. Finally, Lendl Simmons struck the first century of the Pepsi IPL 2014 as the Mumbai Indians defeated points leaders Kings 11 Punjab by 7 wickets. George Bailey top scored with 39 in Kings 11's 156 for 8, a total which proved woefully inadequate once Simmons got into his stride. The Trinidad and Tobago opener smashed boundaries at will as he single-handedly led Mumbai Indians to victory, as we'll now see in the highlights package.
Well, this was a great innings, and he set about the opening bowlers, Sandeep Sharma, who couldn't quite swing the ball, and he was aggressive from the very outset. He just went after the pace from the word go.
Yeah, and look at the range. And he modulated the roll really well, because in between we also saw him to rotate the strike, and yeah, slices over points, some lovely cover drives, and this pull shot that fetched him a boundary, and good against pace and not bad against spin too. This was a massive straight drive that almost got better of the umpire, and then Hussey got a good one, played back, was beaten between bat and pad, and he was castled. In the meantime, Simmons' show continued. This was a biggie. Played it with the spin over the rope. He does like to cut the ball, and he cut beautifully. Raidu was undone by a slow one. Caught really well by Sevaget cover.
Strikes me, Rambo, that Simmons, look at the way he advanced down the pitch there. He looks to play all around the ground. There's not an area where he looks weak. And he's gone out there in such confident mode, and he makes it difficult to bowl at him. And that was Sharma gifting a catch to Sandeep Sharma at third man.
Yes, his balance is so good. That's his 100th run, and well, the first century for this year's Pepsi IPL. What a moment. He's played a winning innings, and a really good one.
Lendl Simmons, 100 not out of 61 balls, and a typical finish, bang into the crowds as Pity Zinta. Oh, that hurt. Two Trinidad players out there in the middle. Lendl Simmons, classy innings, an aggressive innings with 2 sixes and 14 fours, and that translates to a strike rate of 163. Tremendous innings. Carry. Mumbai Indians, they've now got their 5 wins, 10 points, and net run rate might well still count in the final reckoning.
The Pepsi IPL will continue tomorrow with the Kolkata Knight Riders against the Royal Challengers Bangalore and the Chennai Super Kings against the Sunrisers Hyderabad. And with that, we've come to the end of sport, which is sponsored by MarkWarp. And that has brought us to the end of the evening news as well for today, Wednesday, May 21, 2014. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.